kLbn7QGuTUk, and I appear on behalf of the defendant in this matter, Lorenzo Morris. State your name, please.
Lorenzo Allen Morris.
All right, thank you. Today is the day set for the continuation of the trial that was started. With respect to the trial, the sequestration order is still in effect. Are there any other preliminary matters before we begin?
Not for the people. Now on behalf of the defendants.
All right, then the defense may call this next witness. Thank you. I was trying to multitask. The people, because let me tell you, Ms. Ritter was like, do not call me. One day she knows. The people may call their next witness.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, the people would like to call Mr. Marlon McDonald.
You may. All right, step this way. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you may be seated. Ms. Ritter, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. McDowell. Mr. McDowell, can you state your full name to the record?
Yes, Marlon McDowell.
Thank you. And Mr. McDowell, you were present last Friday, when we started this trial, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And between last Friday and today, did you view any videos regarding any testimony that was taken, last week?
No.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. McDowell, I want to go back to December 16th of 2019. Where were you employed on that day?
At Detroit Public School, Central High School.
Okay, and on December 15th or about December 16th, 2019, how long were you employed with Central High School?
Before that, it was for 5 years at Central High School.
Okay, and Mr. McDowell, there's a microphone in front of you. If you can
Yes,
speak into the microphone, if you need to adjust it, then adjust it. Just make sure you speak up, keep your voice up as the court reporter is making a record as well, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And can you repeat how long have you been working with Central High School?
All together or just now?
From 2019.
5 years.
5 years, okay, and what was your,
I apologize. The answer to the question, he had, as of 2019, you have been working there 5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
and what was your position at Central High School on about December 6th of 2019?
Dean of Students, Dean of Culture, Central High School.
Okay, now, on December 16th of 2019, was there an incident that occurred at the school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you recall what happened on that day?
I can't recall the reason as far as like the meeting, like that preceded the incident, but I do recall there was an incident that happened as far as was just a meeting inside that office area inside the room. So I'm not sure, I can't remember the incident because I didn't try to go backtrack or anything like that as far as the incident that happened that day.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, let's go back just a little bit, Mr. McDowell. So, you stated that there was something going on in the main.
It was a meeting, right, there was a meeting in the office, in the conference area.
Who was in that meeting?
I believe it was Mr. Morris in that meeting, in that conference area.
Okay, do you recall who was in the room?
Before the incident, I'm talking about part of just before the incident happened. I know there was a meeting with, Ms. Tillman and I believe Mr. Sewell and Mr. Morris inside that meeting.
Okay, so let's talk about before this incident occurred.
Right.
So do you recall anything from that meeting?
Just as far as the meeting was, the door was closed, so I can't really say what was going on.
So where were you?
I was on the outside of the door, during that time, and it just seemed like there was some arguing going on back and forth.
And why do you say it seemed like there was arguing?
Just the hand motions and you can hear it from the outside of the office.
Okay, and what room were you in when you could hear the
I was in the
argument?
main area.
Mr. McDowell, let her finish completely her question and then start your answer, because you all are kind of overlapping. What was your question?
Where were you when the meeting was taking place?
I was in the main office area.
Oh.
Just in like that corridor area, part of it, in the main office.
And do you recall where the meeting with Mr. Sewell, Mr. Morris, and Ms. Tillman was taking place?
Ms. Tillman's office.
Okay, and from what, if you can recall, from, the main office, where's Ms. Tillman's office?
It's right in that sector, so it's over to the right, like closest to like Central High School, to the front of the building.
Okay,
So it's over to the right. It's in that same area.
okay, and what happens after you hear this argument going on in the office?
I seen, Mr. Morris, he comes out first, and then it was, Mr. Sewell come out behind him, then there was a little bit more shouting going on between the two.
And where were you at this point?
I was still standing there in there, so I was trying to proceed, trying to see if I could intervene, just to be able to kind of like make sure that nothing happened.
Did you intervene at that point when they were going back and forth? as
Well,
far
yeah, I
as
was
the
just trying to say, like, just try to break it up, and as also Officer Shane, she was there as well, trying to, intervene, making sure that nothing kind of like went physical.
Okay, now let's go back just a little bit. So the person that you're referring to as Mr. Morris, do you see them in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point them out and tell me what they are wearing?
He ran a blue shirt, blue sweater vest, and, blue tie as well.
Judge, may the record reflect the identification of the defendant, Lorenzo Morris.
The record reflect the identification of Mr. Morris.
Thank you. And then you, mentioned Officer Shane. The person you're referring to is Officer Shane. Do you see that person in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you point them out and tell me what they are wearing?
She's wearing a blue shirt, blue sweater, with blue collar, and I can't see anything else.
Okay, so where are you when you say you try to perceive if you can intervene? Did you?
I'm probably maybe about 10 to 15 feet away from the incident.
Okay, and at that point, did you intervene?
Yes, I was just trying to step in between. I didn't kind of like make it there in time. I believe Officer Shane, she did, and that's when kind of like the situation happened from there.
Okay, so let's go back just a little bit. So when you say Officer Shane, or sorry, strike that. When you say you couldn't make it in time, where were you standing at that point?
So there's a table that's in between, like by the office, like in that main area. So it's like just a table in that main area. So sometimes it's like a waiting little table that people sit at. We got a meeting there or anything. So we're in that area. It's a printer, and there's 2 clerical desks that's in that area. So I'm in that middle area, then you have, Ms. Tillman's office over to the right. So
Okay,
they're at the corner of the office.
okay, and where is Officer Shane from where you're standing? Where is she?
She's coming in, she's hearing it, and she's proceeding.
Objection as to him trying to describe what Officer Shane was hearing or.
Sustained.
From your observation, Mr. McDowell, where was Officer Shane? From your observation, not what you heard, not what you think she heard, but from your observation, where was Officer Shane?
Proceeding to the situation. She was in the process of moving towards the situation that was occurring.
Okay, now, do you recall, if she was walking in a fast pace or a regular walk towards where the incident occurred?
I believe she was proceeding with caution, like where she was moving forward, like where it wasn't like an aggressive run or anything like that, but she was just proceeding to hearing it. So, I mean, she wasn't, where it was like, I need to get this person or this person. It was just a point of just an act of in between or going in between.
Okay, and.
1 second. Ms. Stevenson, are you ready on, the tether violation?
Ready, Your Honor.
All right, everyone stay in place, just give me one moment. This is case number, oh, hold on, is this a felony or is this a misdemeanor?
You do have she has a misdemeanor tether on for your case, Your Honor.
I didn't receive a tether report, Judge. I just got it, I'm sorry, here. But let me ask this, so does she have to go see Judge Dow? Did he put a tether on her?
That case got dismissed, Your Honor, at exam.
Okay. Yes,
Can I use the restroom?
yes, yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't read the case number. I gave Ms. Ritter my papers. That's okay, Ms. Ritter. I mean, keep it. Do we have the case number? All right, thank you. All right, I have it. This is case number 234520501. The people versus Diana Lucia Castaneda. And the defendant is charged with, okay, looks like she's charged with assault or assault and battery, and today is the date set for, well, it's not the date set. She was brought before the court on a tether violation. Appearances, please.
For the record, Your Honor, Christina Ritter on behalf of the people.
Janice Stevenson appearing on behalf of Diana Castaneda. Ms. Castaneda, ma'am, please unmute and say your full name.
Can you get the deputy to unmute? What happened? They left. What the hell? Oh, there it is. Okay, can the deputy unmute you, ma'am? All right.
Diana Lucia Castaneda.
Say it again.
Diana Lucia Castaneda.
All right, today, the defendant has been brought before the court on a tether violation, and I had an opportunity to read the tether violation, and according to the tether unit, she was placed in the tether program. She was placed on the tether by Judge William C. McConaughey. She was put in the tether program. She was explained what the tether program was, and she agreed to go to a place. She agreed that she was gonna be residing at a house. And then the tether unit was monitoring the tether, and then they went to the place that she agreed to be tethered to, and the people that was living at that house said, we haven't heard from her since she got out of jail. Ms. Stevenson?
I believe, first of all, that this matter, because the complaining witness is Ms. Castaneda's mother, we believe ultimately this case would transfer to the domestic violence docket. I would have no objection to waiting for Judge Garrett to rule on the removal of the tether, Your Honor, and I would be suggesting that if the tether is going to stay on, that she be tethered to Naomi's nest if they have availability for her.
The tether is gonna stay on. I'm glad you think you know me, and you might. The tether is gonna stay on. She never even made contact with the people who she was supposed to be tethered to. So that sounds like it was a dishonesty. And since it is domestic violence, we're gonna go ahead and transfer the case to Judge Garrett. We're gonna put it on his, a docket for the same day. So they put it on my docket for October 30th. We're gonna just put it on Judge Garrett's docket, let them know, call them and let them know that I'm transferring it based upon the familiar relationship between the parties. The tether is going to remain, and the court will allow her to be tethered to Naomi's nest if they have an appropriate bed for her. Anything further?
Thank you, Judge.
Nothing on behalf of Ms. Castaneda. Thank you, Your Honor.
Let me just also be clear about this too. The tether conditions that Judge McConaughey imposed at the bond redetermination hearing, those tether conditions are all the same. She's house arrest at Naomi's Nest until Judge Garrett decides what he wants to do with the tether, okay? And
Thank you,
then,
Your Honor.
right, McConaughey said she's allowed to travel for court and medical only. And so those are the same bond conditions, but we're gonna just change the tether location to Naomi's Nest. And she's only to be tethered to Naomi's Nest or a like facility. That's my order. Naomi's Nest or a like facility. Anything further?
No, thank you.
I think on behalf of Ms. Castaneda, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and then we'll send over the paperwork to transfer her next court date to Judge Garrett. Oh, there, Sergeant, you're there, so I think you heard what I said, but tethered to Naomi's Nest, and I'm transferring the case to Judge Garrett.
Yes, Judge, understood. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Sergeant. Have a great day. Stay safe.
You too.
All right, thank you. Okay, excuse that interruption, but yes.
Mrs. Jefferson client is outside, Your Honor.
Okay, they'll be out here. Okay. You can keep it. Okay. All right, excuse the interruption, and Ms. Ritter, you may continue.
Thank you. So Mr. McDowell, just repeat my last question. Do you remember at what pace or in what manner Officer Shane was proceeding towards the incident?
I think she was proceeding nothing aggressive or anything like that. She just proceeded to the situation, I guess, as a person in concern, as far as what was going on. I mean, it was kind of like maybe a brief speed to it, but it wasn't nothing running or anything like that.
Okay, and what happened next when Officer Shane proceeded to the incident?
It was yelling between Morris and Sewell, and I guess Sewell asked him to leave, or he said that he was leaving, and Shane kind of like had her hands up,
And where was she standing when she had her hands up?
like right behind him, or like in the middle of
And when you say behind him, who are you referring to?
them, behind Mr. Morris, like kind of like in the middle or behind Miss Morris, because she didn't get there kind of like quiet in time, and that's when Mr. Morris just kind of like pushed her off, and just proceeded.
Okay, so when you say she had her hands up, can you show the court what you mean by her hands up?
Just like this. Just
Can you
like,
stand up and show me? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and you said when she had her hands up, she was either behind Mr. Morris or in between Mr.
Right,
Morris and
right.
Mr. Sewell?
yes,
Okay, and then you testified that Mr. Moore then pushed Officer Shane?
yeah, I believe like push
Objection,
her.
that's not what, excuse me, objection. That's a mischaracterization of what his testimony was. He did not use the word as a push. I didn't.
He did, I wrote it down on my paper. He said Mr. Morris pushed her off. That's what I wrote on my paper. Overruled.
Thank you. And can you repeat that? I'm sorry, Mr. McDowell.
Well, who is he repeating it for?
So at least so I can remember
Okay.
Cause he felt like pushed her hand away. I'm not sure if it was like a zone or anything, but it was just like he pushed it. Can't say anything like psychological, but I'm not sure if he just like pushed off and kept on proceeding.
And where do you recall him pushing Officer Shane?
It was
Did you say
like-
where?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Like in the hands and just the hands area.
Do you recall how many times he did that?
It was just one.
Okay, and what, do you recall from your observation what Officer Shane did next?
She was more like in shock, and that's when she was thinking that was assault, as far as with him pushing her and putting his hands on.
And where were you at this point when this happened?
I kind of like was going in between, but he had already proceeded, because I mean, it was kind of like more of a situation where, I was trying to let her handle it as a police matter now, whatever the situation was.
Okay, and when you say he proceeded, who are you referring to?
Say that again.
When you say he proceeded, who are you referring to?
What you mean he proceeded? I said, I proceeded to the situation part was just closer to her.
Okay, and where was Mr. Morris at that point?
He was like gone out the door by that time.
Okay, and Do you recall what happened next?
It was more as far as with, and like, more people was in more like disbelief and just like shocked about how the situation went. And it was just kind of like he had left and it was just kind of like everybody was trying to calm down from there from the situation.
Okay, do you recall the police, coming to the high school?
Yes, I do believe the police did.
Do
I
you-
don't recall, I can't recall, but I do believe they did, but I can't remember.
Okay, you don't remember?
Yes.
Okay, Judge, may I have one moment? You may. Did I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay, looking at the monitor in the courtroom, Mr. McDowell, do you see the monitor in the courtroom? Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and looking at the monitor, do you see yourself on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you see yourself? Can you describe what you're wearing?
Blue shirt with the khaki pants.
Okay, and do you recall what this still screenshot is?
Yes, that's the situation that happened, the reason why we're here today.
Okay, Judge, at this time, we are asking the court permission to play people's already admitted exhibit 1.
You may.
No objection, I just need my glasses.
Okay.
Thank you.
And, are you playing it from the beginning or are you playing it from this spot on here?
The beginning. Your
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, Mr. McDowell, I'm gonna start the video from the beginning, and I want you to watch the video, and I want you to tell me when to stop. When you testify that this, Mr. Morris pushed Officer Shane, okay?
Okay.
So Judge, at this time, the people will start the video at 0 minutes and 0 seconds.
The area right there. Go back maybe like 23, 24 seconds.
That's a lot of seconds.
Like the 20, between like the
That's
23. No, don't go back 23
So,
seconds.
wait,
Go back
wait.
to the 23 mark. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so the instructions are this. When you see on the video where you say, Mr. Morris, pushed the Officer Shane away.
But
Say-
the objection, this is my, he said pushed her hand or.
Okay, whatever that might be, I'm just telling you where the instruction is. When you see that on the screen, say stop, like that. That's what I want you to stop, or whatever your voice is, mine is higher than yours. You stop, stop,
Stop.
right, stop,
Okay.
stop.
Okay.
Okay, stop, all right. So go ahead. So she can stop right away.
Okay.
Okay,
Go back a little bit further.
go back 23 seconds.
No, go back.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the beginning.
Yes, please. Stop.
Ms. Ritter, now you wasn't using the trigger.
I wasn't.
Okay.
Okay, one more time, just for the record, I'm going back about 18 seconds.
Stop.
So for the record, the video stopped at 20 seconds. So looking at the screen, Mr. McDowell, is that consistent as to what you testified to in the courtroom?
From My memory, kind of no, but yeah, I mean, because of the simple fact, like, I didn't see the video, I haven't seen the video, and it's been 4 years since the situation.
But from what you remember,
From what I remember, yeah, it's kind of similar to what I seen, but,
okay,
I didn't know I was that close to the situation.
okay. Judge, I have one moment.
You may.
And I'll stop sharing the screen. Okay? Couple more questions, Mr. McDowell. You said you, at that point, about 2019, you had been working at Central High School for how long?
Over 5 years.
Okay, during that 5-year tenure, was Officer Shane employed with Central High School as well?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And was Mr. Morris employed with Central High School during that 5-year tenure of yours?
No, ma'am. He was there, I believe that was the first year or maybe possibly the second year.
Okay, so he hasn't been employed with Central High School that long?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall what Mr. Morris' position was at Central High School?
I think he was a paraprofessional,
Can you just
for the
explain that?
ESC. He was a parapro, like where he worked with the ESC, the special needs students. He serviced them as the aide inside the classroom.
Okay, now is that a teacher? Did he have any teaching,
I'm not sure. I don't believe he taught, but he possibly could have tutored or anything inside that classroom as well.
okay, and from your recollection, did Officer Shane and Mr. Morris, from what you recall, what you know, from your personal knowledge, have they had any prior contact with each other before this incident?
No, not to this, not to my knowledge.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Mr. McDowell, where's Central High School located?
2425 Tuxedo.
Is that the city of Detroit,
Yes, Detroit, Michigan.
County of Wayne?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. All right, cross examination.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. McDowell.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm gonna ask you a few questions. If there's anything that I ask you and you don't understand, just ask me to repeat it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to get a better understanding as to what happened in your perspective on that day. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So now let's see. You saw the video and you say that officers, when you saw that video, it's still your testimony that she just walked up in a concerned way or not an aggressive way? Is that, do you change your testimony from that after seeing
Well,
the result?
no, only thing I would change, like, far as with, it still seemed like she was concerned about the yelling and the altercation just between two adults being face to face and inside of a school building just is unprofessional. So that's probably, I seen what I see more proceeding to that, just a concern of nothing else, and the hostility in both of the voices of the adults.
Okay, so number one, you say that there was hostility in both of the adults.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct? Those adults would be Mr. Sewell and Mr. Morris. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then the next thing you say is that you see her approach and it's just more as a concerned way. That's, even after you saw the video, it's just more concerned.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you testified that she came up and she had her hands out, or she had her hands out wide, in front or out wide?
Well, it wasn't like to touch or proceed. It was just like a barrier, just to bring space in between those two individuals, because they were close and face to face.
So when you bring space, is she doing it up?
No, she didn't. I didn't see any touching.
Just let me finish my question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, a demonstration. So when you first showed us, your hands were out front. Are you saying her hands were out front between the two gentlemen, or were her hands kind of going between the two gentlemen?
Judge, I object to this characterization. He didn't put his hands out front. Overruled. She's asking him which it is. Overruled.
Well, you didn't answer.
I can answer that?
Yes, you can answer.
So, it's just, they were out. I mean, I'm not saying like they were out. They were just out to create space. I haven't seen her do it. As far as just an interaction, as far as with an altercation, And just to see if that can help create space between the two individuals.
Okay, but at that point, that's just what you think she was doing. You don't know what was in her mind, isn't that correct?
No, ma'am, I don't.
And you don't know what her intent was. Okay, so now, and that's correct, you don't know what her intent was, correct?
No, ma'am.
All right. So now, and it's your thing, and you testified that did he push her hand away when she had her hands up?
Well, it was in the parts where his manner was aggressive. So I think anybody like that was trying to touch him or anything like that, and he just pushed it away. He was angry at the time.
That wasn't, okay, that's the answer, that's your answer to my
That's what
question.
I guess. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So are you, can you repeat what you're asking?
absolutely. And in fact, Madam Court Reporter, can you tell me what my question was?
And in your testimony, you testified that he pushed her hand away when she had her hands up.
So did he push her hand away when she had her hands up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And it is your testimony that this only happened once?
That's what I see. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and isn't it true he didn't shove her?
I didn't see far as with like a shove in that manner. I can't recollect that. I can't recall. I can't say yes or no. I really know if he really shoved her, but all I see is the hands of the pusher. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you saw him push her hand away, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and let's see, no, one moment, please. Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Any redirect?
Oh, thank you, Karen.
I have a question for you. Mr. McDowell, you said that, let me find it. I think you said that you tried to intervene. Is that what you said?
Right.
Okay. My question is, why did you try to intervene? What were you trying to intervene to?
As far as was just yelling, it was something that I didn't see from both individuals. I haven't seen before as far as with Mr. Sewell, as far as with him being irate and with the behavior, so I just started to intervene, just try to stop them. You know, two males and two adults having some type of altercation inside the building.
So when you observed whatever was going on from a distance, because you said you were, over somewhere else, it was your assessment that it was an aggressive situation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Well, you can hear it from the office, as far as with them going back and forth. What made it, I guess, proceed to whatever thing they were arguing about, I guess, being over. And I guess it was just trying to get the final words, but I'm not sure what was said in the office or anything.
okay, but when you saw it and heard it, it was your response to attempt to intervene?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions based on my question?
The people do have a few questions.
Okay,
So based on the judge's question that she asked you, why do you feel the need to intervene? Do you recall what Mr. Morris's demeanor was at that time?
Yes, ma'am, it was aggressive.
And do you recall what Mr. Sewell's demeanor was at that time?
It was like hostility parts with, I guess, as far as with it was aggressive behavior as far as with his as well, but it was more like hostility, just argument and just loud. It was loud. His was just more loud.
Okay, and when you say you try to intervene, was this the, I guess, the argument between Mr. Sewell and Mr. Morris?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no further questions. Good.
okay, counsel, did you have any follow-up?
No,
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down, and this witness is free to go.
the people have no further questions.
Okay. You're free to go, like, leave if you want to leave. Okay. Okay, and are there any other witnesses on behalf of this board?
No, thank you, Your Honor, the people who rest at this time.
Okay? Anything on behalf of the defense at this time?
Yes, the defense would like to make a motion for directed verdict.
Okay, you may. Is Ms. Jefferson out there also?
No, the client said she was waiting on Ms. Jefferson to show up, but I can check right now.
Oh, okay, just check. I mean, I'm gonna do it after this motion though, but see if she's in the area. Okay.
Your Honor, the motion for directed verdict, it is to be considered in the light most favorable to the non-moving party. And I'm bringing this because I don't believe that people have shown beyond a reasonable doubt how completely they've proven their case. What we've heard is that we've heard from two independent witnesses, and we actually have seen the video as well. There was no shove. Well, I don't recall. They recall maybe a hand being pushed out of the way, but they also say about Officer Shane coming up to either putting her hands between the both of them or putting her hands up. And I can certainly see she started that aggressive behavior. She approaches, fine, that's her job, she approaches. Now, but what we don't see is this actual shove. Even in this video, we've seen this video about 10 times, there's no shove. We don't see where she goes backwards. We just don't see that. So her, the movement of pushing her hand away when her hand is up in someone's face, or not in someone's face, but up, and trying to stress her own testimony is that she's trying to keep them apart. Now, Mr. McDowell says, oh no, her hands were just out. Ms. Tillman, her hands were, Mr. McDowell, hands were out. Ms. Tillman, hands were out towards each other, towards each gentleman. Not one of those people said that there was this push. This is the shove that she was shoved in his chest whatsoever. That does not come up. Neither one have testified to it. And the video does not portray that. The video portrays that yes, there's some type of discussion. We hear by all the witnesses that it was aggressive. Everybody agrees that it was aggressive. Everybody agrees that, except for I didn't ask Mr. McDowell, no one asked Officer Shane to approach, to come forward. They were handling it. She comes forward in that video, whether or not the speed was increased or slowed down, the way she approached was not in a kind, concerned manner, cautious manner whatsoever. We see her stand in between. This is what the video shows. We don't see at all where we don't see in that video where Mr. Morris, my client, touches her whatsoever. We don't see that. It just is not supported. And for those reasons, I don't think an assault happened. I don't think a battery happened with the present sensibilities. There were people around. That actual physical touching, the video doesn't show a touching. I don't think the people have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that they haven't proven their case. They haven't proven it. And I'm just asking that the court dismiss the case and grant the motion.
Response.
Yes, Judge. So Judge, if the court is looking at the motion in favor of the non-moving party, in light of favor of the non-moving party, I'm gonna ask the court to deny the defense counsel's motion, Your Honor. The people did present 3 witnesses. The complainant witness, Officer Rochelle Shane, an eyewitness, Assistant Principal Sheena Tillman, and the Dean of Culture, Mr. Marlon McDowell. Now, Judge, setting the video aside, these 3 witnesses have all testified to this court that there was some argument between Mr. Sewell, who was the principal of the high school, and Mr. Morris. All 3 witnesses have testified that there was arguing between the two, and that the noise and the voice levels of the argument increased in a manner in which Mr. McDowell testified that he wanted to proceed towards this incident to try to intervene because he felt like it was an aggressive nature ensuing between the two. Officer Shane had testified last Friday that she came out of this conference room because of the noise level and concern and wanted to intervene and see what was going on between Mr. Sewell and Mr. Morris. Ms. Tillman has testified last Thursday, Your Honor, that, she was inside of her office and she can hear the noise level so loud between Mr. Morris and Mr. Sewell that she came out to see what was going on. So all the witnesses have testified, Judge, that Officer Shane has approached this incident between Mr. Sewell and Mr. Morris. And Officer Shane has testified that when she approached, that she was pushed. I think her testimony was a couple times. Ms. Tillman has testified that when she observed the incident, that Mr. Morris pushed Officer Shane's hand away so hard that her hand went away. Mr. McDowell testified that when he perceived the incident, or what he saw, Mr. Morris pushed Officer Shane's hand away. So I'm bringing that to the court's attention because to establish the people's verdict, we have to establish that there is a forceful or violent or offensive touching. Now, whether the witnesses saw Mr. Morris push Officer Shane, or whether the witnesses testified that Mr. Morris pushed her hand away, or whether the witness testified that Mr. Morris slapped Officer Shane's hand away, that's a credibility issue, Your Honor, and I feel like that's a credibility issue for the trier of fact. So if the court is looking at the motion in favor of the non-moving party, I'm gonna ask the court to deny the defense counsel's motion. I believe that the people presented these three witnesses, not even bringing in the video, just the testimony from these three witnesses, there is a consistent recollection of the events of this incident that is sufficient enough for the trier of fact to establish that the people met their burden of proof at this point. So at this point, Your Honor, I'm gonna ask the court again to, deny defense counsel's motion.
Any rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the court viewing the motion in the light most favorable to the non-moving party. The court agrees with the people that the three witnesses established enough evidence on the record for the court, who is in this case also the trier of fact to conclude that there was an offensive, violent, forceful, or offensive touching of the person of another or something closely connected to the person of another, and I'm going to deny defense counsel's motion for directed verdict. The court having denied the motion for directed verdict, is there anything further on behalf of the defense?
Yes, I'd like to call my first witness.
All right, is she out there? No, Your Honor. Okay, let me check the room and see if Mr. Well, I did tell them 11:45, so technically they had 4 minutes, 3 minutes, but okay, the defense may call their first witness.
And then I'd like to volunteer my client just to make sure.
Oh, is your client your witness?
Yes.
The witness, okay, well then stand up, Mr. Morris. State your name, sir.
Lorenzo Morris.
Mr. Morris, it appears that your lawyer is going to call you as a witness. Do you understand, Mr. Morris, that you have the absolute right to remain silent?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you give up the right to remain silent and testify, that the court is going to use your testimony in connection with the other witness's testimony to make a decision in this case?
Yes.
Sir, has anyone threatened you in any way or promised you anything that was not placed on the record to get you to give up your right to remain silent and to testify in this case?
Ma'am.
Do you understand that the decision to testify is yours and yours alone, but in consultation with your lawyer?
Yes.
You've spoken with your lawyer about testifying?
Yes.
After speaking with your lawyer about testifying, is it your decision to testify?
Yes.
All right, court is satisfied. Did you want to do any further for here, or is that
Oh,
sufficient?
no, I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, you may come towards me. And then raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you may be seated in the witness box. You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, I'm gonna ask you some questions so that the court can, so that we can all hear your version of what happened on December 16th, 2019, okay? So when I ask a question, just wait for me to finish my question before you answer. You will be able to say, within reason, because if it's something that's not supposed to go on the record, or you'll be stopped, okay, there'll be objections, but just you'll be able to say what happened to you on that day, okay?
Okay.
And if there's something I ask and you don't understand, just ask me to repeat it. Is that fair?
Yes.
So on December 16, 2019, where were you employed?
Central High School,
And how were you employed? And what was your position or title?
trainable aid,
Repeat that.
trainable aid.
Trainable aid.
Trainable aid.
Okay. And in that position, what exactly did you do?
Well, I assist the lead teacher with the, special needs students.
And is that, assisting, does that, as far as teaching, as far as controlling the classroom, what do you do?
Okay, yes, I assist with tutoring, helping them in the classroom, teaching and everything. I also, I have to get there in the morning and be there for the kids getting off the bus, so I get there early. And I leave late because they have to get the bus, so I have to wait till the last student leaves. I also take them to the classrooms, they have a couple classes that they do. They stay in there half of the day there in one class. The other half, we go to lunch, we go to music, and sometimes we go to the gym, and I escort them from to and from.
Okay, very nice. Is there anything else you were doing at Central High School? Any other duties?
Yeah, I'm a football coach.
And were you the head football coach at Central, or what was your capacity?
Well, my capacity, I was like defensive coordinator.
All right. And how long have you been employed with at Central High School?
Well, I had returned to Central High School that semester. However, I've coached at Central High School since 1990-91. I left there in 2000 and, I believe 2003. I coached basketball, football, and track.
Okay.
And I left there, went to Southfield, and then I came back over there to help out Coach Macon, him and Mr. Sewell. We met on the 24th of August before I went to the career fair to be hired. He asked me to come over. He didn't give me the position that I should have because
Okay, we don't have to go there. Just to stay focused
Oh, okay.
on how long you were, it was about, did you have any other